the way that I got to have scene work with Michael going forward into what's to come, I can't wait. The fans who know and love his work and what an excellent actor he is are gonna see stuff that they'll never forget.
Hey there, Dexter fans! Welcome to another episode of Final Cut, your ultimate hub for all things Dexter and the official after show for Dexter Resurrection. I'm your host, Jamie Cheng, and I'm here to dissect every chilling twist and turn from this week's episode, and boy, was there quite a twist.
How did I not see this coming?
Today we welcome, as Gemini would say, an icon in the industry, the one and only David Dastmalchian. It is so great to have you. Thank you so much for being here.
It's so great to be here.
What's it like stepping into the role of Gemini?
I always explore, as I'm sure you do, when you're in a role and you're bringing a character to life, for lack of a better term, without trying to sound pretentious, truth or authenticity as you can possibly evoke, because then the audience, when they're experiencing this with the characters, hopefully are in it.
Let's jump into the episode, shall we? Episode 6 is called Cats and Mouse. But being placed in New York, it should be called Cats and Rats, don't you think? We start with the episode with Harrison supporting his father at Blessing's mother's funeral.
The family was really close. They're devastated.
Yeah, Dad, I think I know what to expect from a funeral.
Yeah, I just want to prepare you. Brace yourself for a lot of sadness.
Death
Yeah.
is this huge theme throughout Dexter. It always has been. The death of Dexter's mother and how that formed the person that he became, the death of his father, and how his father's ghost still lives with him and shapes him in the moral compassing that he needs along his journey. All of the murders that have taken place, both the murders from the serial killers who've killed innocent victims to Dexter taking justice into his own hands and following his code and killing. So death, death, death.
I didn't know Prudence long, but she told me all she wanted was to be surrounded by people she loved, who knew her for who she really was.
Oftentimes in a show, and I think in a story like this, it becomes easy for us to separate ourselves from the emotional cost, the emotional weight, the emotional experience that is death. Because this is a fun show, often we can remove ourselves. And I think it's the bravery and the boldness of the writing this season that they're gonna go, yes, we are surrounded by death in a fun, splattery, violent, scary, cool way, but also it's a pretty heavy subject, and we as a people still haven't really figured out how to talk about it. And so in that moment, it's so wonderful, and Michael's performance is so exquisite because he captures Dexter's ultimate discomfort, not just with death, with emotions, but with himself.
As I told you before, the Foster case reminded me of a serial killer from Miami, a person I worked with, the Bay Harbor Butcher.
Meanwhile, Angel visits the police precinct, and he presents this pretty elaborate theory.
In a logical scenario, cops entertaining the opinion of a cop from a whole other jurisdiction would be like, this is, get out of here. He's so good and sincere in the way he delivers his performance as Batista. You can't deny it. And I'm really, really glad that we get to see in this season. You keep going, there's no way Dexter could be put against the ropes more than he has been in previous seasons. In this season, he's literally like, the ropes are bending.
Okay, no offense, but Rapunzel hasn't exactly entered into the cultural zeitgeist the same way that Gemini has. There are 4 Gemini bestsellers. Fincher's making a Gemini movie. They're talking to one of the Culkins about playing me.
Would it be unkind to say
Go for it.
that Gareth is quite egotistical?
That's one way to look at it.
Or is very proud of his work?
That's another way to look at it.
Great.
A third way to look at it, which I find very interesting, is in building backstory, and this is stuff that I just talked about a lot with Scott and then Clyde and everyone else in creation, was like, what leads a person to this journey? What is the path, aside from maybe some neurological disorder, biological disorder, but
what
like,
is
what is the childhood trauma? What is the, and the affect to me that made the most sense, the impact of an experience in life early on where the deeply, deeply insecure person within are patted, protected, and aided in this intense desire to make sure that everyone around them knows that they are in complete control and that they are the smartest person in the room. And it works, or it has worked up until now. It works until you're duct taped to the floor of a guy's apartment. Yeah.
I mean, spoiler alert. Dexter follows Gareth to the bookstore. And I kind of love, like, you're each taking turns, stalking each other, like prey. Tell me about that experience filming at South Street Seaport.
So we go into the city to film, because a lot of the stuff we film is at Prater's Mansions, which are out.
Two different locations,
We use
yep.
locations out in Long Island. So here we are shooting scenes in the city, getting to go to this very cool bookstore where I did some book shopping. And as I'm working, I was so surprised because I'd met the stills photographer.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, when you're on set, the studio usually has hired a photographer to take pictures that then they can use for press. And there was like 3 stills photographers around us shooting very close to our proximity, as there were pedestrians who, you can have a PA all day long say,
No.
you can't walk this way. This is New York City.
This is New York City,
You're not
yeah.
gonna tell a pedestrian who needs to get to their grocery or to get their coffee that they can't walk through set. So just people who aren't background are just crashing the set. There's photographers all around. And I said to Michael, I was like, you guys have like 4 stills photographers? And he goes, oh no, that's our stills photographer. This guy, those are paparazzi. Wow. And I was like, oh, this is New York City,
I
baby.
know.
This is filming in Manhattan.
What's the point of all this spycraft? Who's he meeting that requires a dead drop like he's in some Cold War espionage movie?
An accomplice? A victim?
Well, whoever it is won't be getting the message.
I love the moment where he's looking and he finds, you know, the chapter about
Chapter 10,
him.
yeah.
And then he turns a page and there's poor Doak,
Surprise, motherfucker!
who I got to meet at the
Me
premiere
too.
last night.
He did a little video for me.
Ugh,
I got the surprise motherfuckers.
he's so great.
In the bookstore, we realize that Gareth is 1 step ahead. Ooh.
Because so often Dexter is the one with the upper hand in all of the hunting. I mean, he is the true apex predator of serial killers. So he and our audience believing that he is on top of this whole scenario up until you realize he's not. He's being watched. That was so fun to shoot.
Hello.
Gareth, hey, welcome to my abode.
When he gets home, and it's like, oh, Gareth is way ahead.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And it's such great writing too, because Dexter is so smart.
I'll just come out and say it. I'm a fan. I've been a little starstruck in the group settings, and I was trying to find an excuse to get to know you better. I thought if we bumped into each other, maybe.
I should have anticipated this.
He's so quick, and that he knows immediately what to manipulate or play with
Or say.
to get himself out of trouble. He goes right for the ego.
To meeting your heroes.
The drinks. I thought Dexter was holding the drink in his mouth, but no. He was also 1 step ahead of you.
That was a tricky moment because with a stunt like that, you want to really make sure you accurately portray to the audience what it would look like for somebody to just be drugged. But in my head, I was a little nervous because I'm going to fall off this stool.
Yeah.
They, of course, kept it very safe. There's like a pad there. They have a stunt coordinator. Everyone's being, you know, really cautious of me. But I thought, oh boy, how do I? And Marcos, who's been directing these episodes since the beginning, and this is brilliant director, producer. I thought it was so great how he wanted to shoot. He's like, let's just see you
In the
lose
eyes.
consciousness. And I kept thinking, I'm gonna go for that knife. Because he has a knife block really close. If you watch closely, you'll see he's cutting a lime
Yeah.
and the knife is just out
Right
of reach.
there.
I'm looking towards that thinking, oh!
That's genius.
Yeah, but I don't make it in time.
No.
You know what? I don't need to hear any more from Gareth tonight.
Going back to the duct tape, I was like, wait a second. I mean, he taught Harrison that it's much easier to cut through the body if there's no clothes on. You're not saran wrapped. He doesn't get to have his usual, spiel of like, are there any last words? Do you feel that you were?
I felt honored.
Okay.
Because if you've watched Dexter over the years, you know that there is always a way that Dexter disposes of his victims. To me, getting to do something different, like when is Dexter laid tarp down on the apartment floor and had to use duct tape and had to really figure out and improvise because he knew he couldn't get the body out of there without being seen, and I was unconscious only for a short amount of time, so he's gonna have to kill me quickly. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I love getting to do something different. As there are several moments in this episode that I think hopefully the longtime fans will be like, we've never seen that
No,
before.
we haven't.
Dexter, can we talk? Just a minute.
So the scene's a roller coaster. Were you in the bathtub when we were shooting that scene?
Personally,
Yes.
I was not.
Okay.
We shot me out. I was covered in blood. I was upstairs at the studio trying to take a shower because I was covered in blood, which is very stinky.
Yeah.
When I say my mother saved my life, I meant it. I try not to talk about this. Try not to even think about it, but today, it's impossible.
What an
As
incredible
you were,
scene.
I mean, such a beautiful actor.
The performance was heartbreaking. And again, with the really incredible writing that's going on in the scene, we're juxtaposing what has hopefully been for the audience a very fun moment of watching Gareth get his from Dexter, and that's fun, it's exciting, it's crazy, and then all of a sudden now we're back into the introspective and kind of heavy themes.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
And everybody has stuff. We all do. Everyone who's watching this right now, we all have that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And how it manifests in our lives. And with Blessing's character, Dexter seeing a person who has this second lease on life, thanks to the love he received from his mother, thanks to the love he's got from his family, thanks to the blessings he's received in life. And you go, how is Dexter, when you think about a concept like redemption, going to find that with Harrison and in his own life? And I feel lucky that I get to be such a pivotal player in maybe screwing that up.
She's gone, Warden. I'm sorry, sir.
In the next scene, we learn that Charlie bribes an officer to kill Lady Vengeance. Y'all are dropping like flies.
Holy shit. Gemini. How did I not see this coming?
Did you always know about this twist?
That was the big draw, was the thought of the challenge of getting to be two people, but not for anyone to know it until much later into the story. That is, to me, like, whoa, that's so cool.
Even in your physicality, playing the twin is so different from the only Gemini that we think we meet.
I wanted the walk to convey so much. I wanted the audience, hopefully, to be like, but that's him. But is it him? That's not him. He walks a little different. There's something different about him, but that's him. And of course, for Michael, it was so cool.
Oh my God.
And then I sit down next to him and
I mean, that look, your eyes. My God, what great choices, and you're such a fantastic actor.
Thank you. I thought it could be so fun for the fans and the audience who really loves this show to go back and rewatch once they understand the true duality of Gemini. And hopefully they get a kick out of picking out the different things that Gareth 1 and Gareth 2 do, behave, move, which one is right-handed, which one's left-handed, we'll see.
And I do feel like you learn so much about your body and movement and presence and stage and using your, everything. Do you feel like that's given you a really great background?
100%.
Of course.
I think anyone that really is interested in pursuing the life of acting, I would highly recommend, if they can do it, to spend some time in the theater and on stage, developing those tools and skills, because repeating emotional, physical states of being over and over again, which you do for the camera, you're doing a scene, you're gonna sometimes do it 20 times, sometimes 30 times, who knows how many
You're
times.
doing the whole play.
And when you do the whole play, and then you do it every night for a long period of time, you get the opportunity to start to learn how your body, which is all we have, our face, our muscles, our physicality, our voice, our eyes, oh my God, our eyes, the most important tool probably that we have, how they operate and what tricks you can do with them. When you're on stage and you're having to do a trick with your face to convey, let's say, angry face, and yet the dialogue that you're delivering is supposed to be sweet. I did a play called Suddenly last summer where I played this character who's sometimes speaking in a way that's supposed to be polite, but you can see that he is just seething with rage and anger. And I had to convey that to people who were 400 feet away from me, you know, in a theater. So then when you get to camera work and you're doing a show like Dexter, you use the exact same muscles and tools, you just scale it back by a number of degrees.
Okay, we're more than halfway through our season. What can fans expect for the rest of the season of Resurrection?
It's like they set up all of the pins that you're expecting, and now they've already halfway through knocked everything down because you were certain that this person was going to make it all the way there. Then you were certain that this person was going to make it all the way. Then you were certain that this person was dead and is now back. So with all the clues they've dropped for you so far, all you can be prepared for is to know that you cannot have an expectation, because if you have any, they're going to get knocked aside. What you get to see Peter Dinklage do with this incredible character, what you get to see Uma Thurman do with this incredible character that she portrays, what you get to see Eric Stonestreet do with this incredible character he portrays, and ultimately the way that I got to have scene work with Michael going forward into what's to come. I can't wait. The fans who know and love his work and what an excellent actor he is are going to see stuff that they'll never forget.
It's time to play Bloodslide Roulette. There are 50 questions. Will you please pick a number from 1 to 50?
Okay, 7.
If you can make a Dexter spinoff on any character, who would it be?
In all honesty, when you watch this season in Prater's Rogues Gallery, because Prater's kind of like the Lex Luthor of the Dexter universe, where he's assembled all these powerful, villains. It would be pretty fun to have a season where it's like anthological, and each episode is maybe a different view back into the past of some of fan favorite serial killers of the show. That could be cool.
Yeah, that would be really lovely. Pick another number.
So let's pick the luckiest number of the lot, number 13.
Okay, great.
13 ghosts, 13 victims, 13 serial killers.
Scariest fictional serial killer of all time.
Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, Bubba, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre family, but definitely Leatherface.
Yeah.
Just
Terrifying.
imagine walking into your living room and he's standing there.
No, thank you. Were you a fan of Dexter before you joined the franchise?
Big fan.
Yes.
I was a theater actor in Chicago, and fortunately, I had a near fatal struggle with addiction. And so I took a number of years out of my acting path to focus on just my own mental health and recovery and learning how to live my life clean and sober. And it took years. And by the time I was back into just living a normal life, I was trying to, starting to do a little bit of theater, but mostly just working a regular job and just writing a lot. And it was around that time in my life that Dexter started. And I remember watching the show, which checked all these boxes for me. It had this incredibly highly prolific central performance, as well as all the actors around him. The writing was so fantastic, but it was horror, and it was this psychological thriller, and there was elements of comedy to it that I just thought were so fantastic. So it was at that time when it's like, I didn't have cable, but I could get DVDs, and I would watch the show on DVD. So I was a big fan. Obviously, over the years, it just continued to be so addictive.
Yeah, of course.
And then I got to come play. Who knew? I'm just so grateful. It's a really special feeling, and I don't take it for granted for a second how amazing it is that people like Clyde and Scott Reynolds are sitting there composing, orchestrating this idea with their incredible team of writers in the writer's room, building out these characters, and they would think, David Dastmalchian is the person that we want for this. Now, there's a part of you that goes, what's wrong with David Dastmalchian that they're writing Garrett? And they go, that's the guy. But
it's credit to your
if the
amazing
shoe
work.
fits, if the glove fits, I guess wear it.
You've been in Animal, The Dark Knight, Ant-Man, The Flash, The Suicide Squad, Blade Runner, Dune, and now Dexter. I mean, that's a pretty wild resume. Do you ever sleep?
Well, I sleep in a casket.
Okay, great.
I usually sleep in the day. I had to come out today because this is when you guys film. But thankfully, vampires now have this new SPF. It's how we protect our skin.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Dexter Final Cut, and a huge thanks to our guest, the one and only David Dastmalchian. Thank you so much for being here. It was such a pleasure to speak with you. Don't forget to subscribe to the Dexter YouTube channel, drop a comment, and jump into the Dexter community. We love hearing all of your theories and questions. Stream new episodes of Dexter Resurrection on Paramount Plus only with the premium plan. And then swing on by to the Dexter YouTube channel the day after for our official breakdown. I'm Jamie Chung, and until then, tread lightly. And now, a sneak peek of next week's episode.
Lady Vengeance left us too soon.
Did she choose to leave, or was she taken out?
Don't you find it a little strange that the security cameras just happened to go down?
We are simply following the evidence where it leads us.
You're being played.
Everything keeps going off the rails this year. I keep asking myself, what is different?
You're hiding something from me. Maybe this retreat is going to be shorter than I thought.
The original series and New Blood available on the Essential Plan.